Sometimes holiday visits aren't reunions, they're actually reenactments. So, I'm Dr. Natalie, and as a psychologist, this is the time of year when my clients start to share their worries about the holidays. And for you, maybe once you start hearing the holiday music that is already playing in the stores, you may begin to experience a familiar sense of dread. Even before the text messages and the phone calls begin to solidify plans, you may feel a number of different emotions being stirred up associated with the idea of the holiday and seeing your family. And to be clear, it's not that you dislike your family, you love them. That part you understand. But there's almost like a familiar heaviness, which is a mix of anticipation and sort of resistance when you think about the holidays and spending extended time with family, and something you can't quite explain. And it may not be something you're comfortable even sharing. And this is where your rational brain kicks in and it tries to explain it. It's just because the season is so hectic. It's the travel, it's the noise, it's the errands, it's the gifts, it's the obligations. But if you're really honest, I'm guessing it's something a little more personal, a little deeper. I think it's helpful to understand that this is an emotional response. So it's a sense that when you go home and you're around your family, you're leaving pieces of who you are now behind. Families have a way of pulling us back into our old roles. So even if you've done years of work, gone to therapy, built a new life, set better boundaries, the moment you walk through that door, your body remembers its role. Maybe you become the caretaker again. Maybe you're the one who keeps everyone calm. Maybe you're the overachiever who needs to sound impressive. And maybe you're the peacemaker who swallows any irritation before it shows. Maybe you're the one who has to intervene between certain family members. There's a point when you're together where you realize you're acting. And it happens quickly because families are systems and systems are designed to stay stable. Systems don't change just because you have. So when you change, the system feels it and it instinctively tries to pull you back to what's familiar, your old role. And if you resist, then your change will become the topic of conversation. You may hear things like, oh, well, you used to do this, or you don't like this anymore. And then other family members may try to enlist other family members for support too, saying, do you remember when X used to do this? Or remember that time where so and so acted in this way? It's all attempts to draw you back in. It's not malicious. It's more of like muscle memory. Everyone just kind of slips back into that choreography that's always worked. And you may notice it in other family members too. Any deviation from roles is very uncomfortable for the entire family. And that's why holidays can feel strangely regressive because they aren't simply reunions, they're reenactments. You're walking into a stage set where everyone knows their lines. And even if you promised yourself to play a different part this year, the rigidity of the routine can reduce even the best of intentions. Have you ever tried to introduce a new idea, a new dish, even? Those family dynamics, even though they're familiar, they can really wear down your resolve. You're managing the traditions, the patterns of behavior, the tone, the timing, even the way that someone says your name can collapse all that growth in a second. You can immediately be transported back. So it's not just this holiday this year, it's the history of all the other holidays that you're bringing with you. It's the invisible weight of being remembered for who you were, not being recognized for who you become. And families love to bring up who you were, not as in a way to embarrass, but as a way to of some weird connection. And then you tell yourself it's only one day. Don't say anything. Go along to get along. Suck it up. But then you're dealing with the idea of a good holiday. So that unspoken rule that holidays are joyful, they're easy, they're a time for connection. Families should naturally understand each other. They should want to get together, and gratitude should override everything. It's so good to be together. This is what families do during the holidays. So when that connection feels forced or shallow, you start to assume the problem is you. And that is where the guilt comes in. You start telling yourself that you're ungrateful or you've changed too much. These are good people. My parents did the best that they could. You tell yourself, why can't you just relax? Just enjoy the dinner. What's the big deal? Everyone else enjoys time with their family. We start to compare. But understand that all those feelings, it's not coming from a lack of gratitude, and it doesn't mean that you're selfish or that you're irrational. I want you to think of it as grief. It's grief for the closeness that never fully materialized, for the conversation that never really gets real, for the way affection sometimes has to be translated through performance. It's because now you see the patterns and you recognize things that may not be healthy. And it's almost easier when you can't or when you couldn't, when you didn't know better. And holidays are exhausting. But I think that understanding that it's not the event itself, it's the constant self-monitoring that you have to do, keeping yourself in check. Avoid bringing up anything that can spark conflict. So you're scanning tone, you're reading faces, you're adjusting what you say before you say it. You may go quiet. You may not say much. You may withdraw a little bit. That's emotional labor. And if you're bringing a partner or your children along, they may notice the shift. They may ask you, are you okay? Or is something wrong? The last thing you want is attention. So you can't articulate it. How would you even explain it? So you kind of brush them aside. Everything's fine. It's good. It's good. I wonder if it's the same job that you did when you were growing up, keeping everything manageable so nothing falls apart. Just get through the dinner. Just get through the visit. Don't overreact. Don't make a scene. It's okay. Don't be the one to make a big deal out of something. Don't be too much. You're too much. You're too sensitive. You're always stirring the pot. The adult part of you knows that this is a pattern. This is the family dynamic. But the younger part still believes that your peace depends on your composure. You are responsible. So you spend the visit being fine. But when it's over, you're drained. Not necessarily because anything went wrong, but because you had to shrink to make it go smoothly. You had to put your needs aside. So maybe the question to ask isn't, why don't I enjoy the holidays? Maybe it's, what version of me is required? What version of me shows up? And what does that version still believe they have to do to belong? And that doesn't feel good. But here's some helpful tips to think about. Think about your role in your family before you arrive. What are the expectations that they have of you? Is there any room to kind of interrupt this pattern? Can you enlist your partner to help? Focus on the kids instead. My favorite recommendation is to bring along an activity like a game or a puzzle, something to shift the focus throughout the visit, something structured. But remember, awareness keeps you from slipping into that autopilot. So lower your bar for harmony, consider your expectations, and remove the pressure. Remove the pressure to manage. Connection doesn't have to feel magical to be meaningful. It's enough to show up. And sometimes just staying authentic, even if it's quiet, it's the healthiest kind of peace you can offer for your family, but also for yourself. And give yourself the ability to hold mixed feelings. So make room for all the emotions, especially the ones that conflict or feel the opposite. Many times we feel uncomfortable because we believe that we have to solve our emotions. But remember, two things can be true. You can be grateful for family and disappointed in them. You can love them deeply, but still feel like you have to protect your energy. You don't have to get rid of one. There's room for both. So if you leave a family gathering this year feeling a little bit off, so before you start to analyze it, just pause. Just try to understand it a little differently. What version of me did I just spend the day being? And why does that not work anymore? What would it be to have the new version of me speak and show up next time? What would that look like? The holidays are not a measure of how healed you are. They just show you where your healing is still unfolding. You don't have to perform joy to prove that you're okay. You just have to stay present enough not to abandon yourself. Sometimes awareness is a quiet rebellion. So I hope that helps. Remember, the holidays can be joyous and difficult at the same time. They can be wonderful and stressful at the same time. They can be obligatory and spontaneous at the same time. So look at how you can hold space for both, and I hope things go smoothly.